Sent from Disneyland, history in our hand. So much to say about yesterday and the decades we have spanned. Postcards from the park, this journey will embark. See what has changed and what remains on Sent from Disneyland. Sent from Disneyland.
Welcome to the Sent from Disneyland podcast.
Here age relives fond memories of the past.
If it's your first time joining us, welcome. On this podcast, we'll take a journey into the past and explore Disneyland, Disneyland history, and more, with mementos, snapshots, souvenirs, and postcards sent from Disneyland, from 1955 to the present. Let's start by thanking my patrons from patreon.com. You can join in at any level to support the show and receive snail mail from my trips to Disneyland and from my desk, plus some sneak peeks and bonus content. Special thanks to Random Olive, the first patron to this podcast, and to the rest of the e-ticket patrons, Tania, Eric Daniels, Monica Seitz Vega, Scott Cagle, Russ Romano, Michael and Christina Cross, Angela Reynolds, Greg Gorley, and Sheila Harry. C-ticket patrons Serious Inquiries Only, Debbie Weinstein, Jennifer Schneep, Grace Coate, and Ben and Noel Bruning, B-ticket patron Joshua Bell, and to the A-ticket patrons Elise Sharp, Zealot Infinity, Alexis Robles, Angel DeBlock, Daps Magic, and the Beyond the Railroad podcast. I am your host, your post-host Clocky, and today we have 2 postcards sent from Disneyland. The front of our first postcard has the E.P. Ripley pulling in yellow boxcars into Main Street Station. You can barely see the top of the floral Mickey Mouse, and if you look closely, above the guest waiting area, you can see the top of the Main Street Opera House. On the back it reads, Entrance to Disneyland, Santa Fe Disneyland Railroad, showing Mickey Mouse emblem. It's postmarked July 13th, 1957, with a San Francisco cancel and a 3-cent Purple Liberty postage stamp, Scott number 1035. Let's assume they visited the park on Friday, July 5th, 1957, when park hours were from 9 a.m. to midnight. The weather was a high of 96 and a low of 58. Park attendance that day was 28,866. It's addressed to Mrs. Ella DeLiesel of Oceanside, California. It reads, Dear Mom, Disneyland was real nice, but oh, was it ever hot there. We just about covered all of it, though. Stayed from noon till 10 o'clock at night. On our way back to San Francisco now. We'll write when we get home. Love, Bob, Mary, and kids. This week, I went back to my curio cabinet and pulled out some early Disneyland souvenirs. Before I describe them, let's go over the history of these household objects. Salt shakers did not come around until the 1800s. One of the early designs for a salt shaker was invented by John Landis Mason, who patented a screw-top lid version similar to his other invention, the mason jar. By the 1890s, through the beginning of the 20th century, more salt shaker inventions started popping up, including a single shaker that could hold salt and pepper in a single split container. This included separate compartments that would dispense together or independently. One of the issues with salt shakers is that the salt would harden or stick together. In 1911, Morton Salt added an anti-caking agent to their table salt, making it easier to shake out of salt shakers. Following this innovation, salt and pepper shakers started to become common objects in every home. More versions and patents were filed for salt and pepper shakers through the 1920s. When the Depression hit in the 1930s, salt and pepper shakers were able to be made with inexpensive ceramic and in small production sizes. Since they were inexpensive household items, they were still purchased. In the 1930s and the 1940s, we saw the beginning of the novelty salt and pepper shaker. These decorative and collectible shakers would be 2 people, 2 animals, 2 buildings, 2 characters, or 2 objects. So by the time Disneyland opened in 1955, it was natural to sell salt and pepper shakers at the park, a souvenir item still sold today. Most recently, I've seen a monorail salt and pepper shaker set available on Main Street. Add some flair to your mail by checking out stamps at Enfield Post. You can explore different stamp options on our Etsy site, grab some great deals by following the EP Sunday Sales on Instagram, or create something special and have her design a stamp array for your invitation or celebration. You can head over to enfieldpost.com and explore all the different vintage postage stamps you can use on your next card or letter. That's ENFIELDPOST on Instagram and enfieldpost.com for your wedding and vintage postage needs. Enfield Post is the official postage stamp sponsor of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. The front of our next postcard has the Mark Twain heading back to the dock and passing Cascade Peak during sunset. On the back it would read, Mark Twain, Rivers of America. Homeward bound from a trip down the frontier rivers of America, the stern-wheeler Mark Twain turns by the thundering falls of Cascade Mountain. It's postmarked February 25th, 1969, with a Stockton cancel and a 5-cent blue George Washington postage stamp. It's got number 1283. I assume they visit the park on Saturday, February 22nd, 1969, when park hours were from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. The weather was a high of 58 and a low of 42, with 3/4 of an inch of precipitation. It's addressed to Miss Nellie Lee of Alberta Lee, Minnesota. It reads, Feb 24. We spent the last 3 nights with Jean and Roger Nygaard. Went to church with them on Sunday, and they took us sightseeing 2 days. Today, we looked up Avis, but they were gone on a skiing trip and got snowed in, so couldn't get home. We talked to Dale, who was home. Everyone fine. BMGA. So in my collection, I have 2 sets of salt and pepper shakers. Both pair are made of white ceramic. The first pair are shaped like pitchers or tall teapots. On the front of one has an ornate oval frame with the head and shoulder image of a blonde woman wearing a pink Victorian dress. The other has the same frame, but with a constable with a brown handlebar mustache. The bottom of both frames is a blue banner with Disneyland written in the classic Gothic font. The back of both also have the same frame, with the blue banner, and in the frame is a stylized sketch version of Sleeping Beauty Castle with blue, green, and gray colored shapes, forming the castle. They both have gold accents on the handle, the top rim of the shaker, a center dot, and on the triangle spout. The spout of the constables has 4 small holes to allow salt or pepper out, and the other has 5 holes for pepper or salt to be dispensed. The bottom both still have their original red sticker with Japan written in gold, a teal trapezoid with Disneyland, copyright Walt Disney Productions written in black, and the clear plastic stopper at the bottom so that you can refill the salt or pepper. The second set are cylinders with beveled tops and bottoms. On the very top is a small round knob. One has the Mark Twain written in red above a drawing of the Mark Twain facing to the right. There are 2 yellow stars near the top of the ship on both sides, and blue water below the ship. There are some additional yellow and red accents on the ship as well. The other has Columbia written in red above the Columbia facing right, with yellow accents and similar blue water. Near the top of the ship, on both sides, are red stars. At the bottom of both, Disneyland is written in blue in the classic Gothic font. There are gold accents on the top and bottom of the cylinders, as well as an additional gold circle on the small round knob. There are no markings at the bottom, and both have 6 holes at the top to allow salt or pepper to be dished out. I've seen many other early Disneyland salt and pepper shakers. Most commonly are these, as well as a bell-shaped pair with Tinkerbell and Sleeping Beauty Castle. I'm always on the lookout for these small, practical souvenirs. My incoming postcard is sponsored by the Art Throwdown. Art Throwdown, or ATD, is a craft hour on Instagram, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 Pacific. Art Throwdown is a wonderful community of artists who love to share their craft, from creating sticker postcards and coloring techniques to intricate paper cutting and unique crafting. It's always a treat to watch a show and occasionally get some one-of-a-kind postcards from the group. Each host brings something a little different to each show. I'll list some of the regular hosts, or you can follow Russ Romano 2021 on Instagram. The front of my incoming postcard has the 1937 poster art for the Mickey Mouse short Clock Cleaners, with Donald standing on the clock hands and wiping the 11 and 12, and Mickey standing on a raised plank, scrubbing the 4 and 5 with an oversized brush. It's postmarked August 1st, 2026, with a Cleveland, Ohio cancel, and an Oak Leaf Forever postcard postage stamp, Scott number 5968. It reads, Hi Clocky, I was born in San Diego and grew up in Brea, so I went to Disneyland many times. Now I live in Cleveland, Ohio. My daughter just took a trip to Disney World last month. Happy postcrossing, Mike. Thank you so much for the postcard, Mike. One thing I enjoy about postcrossing and postcards are the fun short stories they tell. I want to address both postcards for this week's episode. The first one was interesting to narrow down the date they visited the park. With the postmark being from San Francisco, and most of the weather in Anaheim that week wasn't too hot, I found the hottest day within the time frame they may have been there. The second postcard from today's episode is a postcard I've used many times, but this is the first time that I've seen it missing the descriptive text on the back bottom left-hand corner of the postcard. It is the only thing different about this postcard from the others in my collection, which is why I said it should read. I checked my Disneyland postcard guide and it didn't mention any special runs or misprintings. Looking at it, I don't see how it could have been misprinted, so there must have been a run of these that were underprinted postcards. I'll have to keep an eye out for more history on this card. One more thing I learned while researching salt and pepper shakers for this episode is that in the United States, traditionally, the salt shaker would have fewer holes at the top for multiple reasons, from restricting the use of salt for diets and because it was easier to shake out salt than pepper. Meanwhile, in parts of Europe, the shakers would be flipped because of the lack of availability of pepper. Be sure to check out the Salt and Pepper Shaker Museum website, or you can go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee and visit it yourself. Thanks for listening to Sent from Disneyland. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and tell your friends. It would also help to leave a 5-star rating and comment on whatever podcast platform you use. If you'd like to support the show financially, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/sentfromdisneyland. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Sent from Disneyland or my website, sentfromdisneyland.com. For questions and comments, send me a postcard addressed to Sent from Disneyland, P.O. Box 44, Hood, California, 95639. This podcast is not affiliated with Disney, the United States Postal Service, or any post office or Disney-related properties. Opinions expressed on this podcast belong to the host and guests of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. This podcast is produced and edited by Clocky McDowell, website designed by Misty McDowell, theme song was written and performed by Noah Sunday Lefkowitz. Take it away, Noah.